Before we get into the game, Richard, talk to me. Help me capture what's happening in the world right now. Let's talk.
Whew.
Let's had um, conversation of COVID. Let's have the conversation of race a little bit.
Mhm.
As you know, as black men, we have to face this issue daily and daily and daily, and it's not something that we put on and take off. Um, I want you to try to summarize what you're feeling in those two conversations. From I know, I'm sure um, you had a lot of great things cancelled for you today this year, um, and it's about maybe recognizing what might have been cancelled for you, uh, and also a little bit about what's happening now and how we can look for um, white people to be allies in these conversations and why that is
Mm.
important, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's basically this year has been like the challenge for everyone, and particularly for me.
Mm.
Uh, this year I would have been in Asia. No, I've been in Asia before, but I've been in China for the first time. I got selected for a sustainable development initiative at the Pekin's University.
Mm.
I was supposed to join like over 50 other young people to be a speaker on sustainable development goals in the context of China.
Oh, wow.
That got cancelled, obviously. And then I was also supposed to be in the UK for a Chatham House event
Yeah.
on young people and digital health. That also got cancelled.
Mm.
And then was also supposed to join my colleagues from the Youth Coalition to have one of our board of directors meeting that we do every year. That
Mm.
also
Mm.
obviously is cancelled, and a number of other ones as well. So it's been a year where we've not been able to do a lot of the trips I was expecting to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also been a period to really reflect about this world and where we think we are going and what we think we are doing and if it really makes sense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like so actually before COVID, I I moved from Austria to Brussels,
Yeah.
and I arrived in Brussels on the 2nd of February, and
Yeah.
already on the 3rd I was on a flight on my way to Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
And this I've not said anywhere, but mid-flight there was a technical error, so the flight had to go back to Addis. And in that moment in my mind, I was like, where am I going to? What am I looking for in this world,
It
traveling
is.
for all these conferences and all of that?
Mm.
But again, coming back to like the issue of what is happening in the United States, the demonstrations and the unfortunate killing of like a brother,
Mm-hmm.
it makes all of us come back to that point. Like, indeed, like the world as we see it,
Mm-hmm.
anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
And COVID-19 is making us realize that what affects China
Mm-hmm.
can be a problem for the whole world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we've seen how economies have been grounded. Like basically nothing is working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Billions of dollars are being lost
Mm-hmm.
because over the years, leaders refused to invest in healthcare of people.
Yeah.
And now we see this issue happening in the United States where the killing of a black man has erupted, violence and demonstrations. And somehow some people think it's fine and it's normal. But they shouldn't forget that it just took one virus in China to ground the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And if an injustice is occurring somewhere in the United States, we should know that an injustice in one place is an injustice everywhere.
Mm. Oh,
And so
wow.
I think
Wow. Wow. Wow.
it's
Let's just
it's
hold that
it's
back. Let me just
yeah.
let me just recuperate what you're saying here. Let me just wow. How did you that I have nothing to say to that statement, Richard. That's a clear correlation.
Yeah. It's sometimes we get lost because we have a program agenda of how things should be done in this world, and we are so much used to it.
Mm.
And when problems arise, we solve them quickly. This is not the first time a black man has died from police like violence,
Yeah.
but then always is swept under the carpet. This is not the first time there has been like a major outbreak of a disease. There was swine flu, there was Ebola in West Africa.
Yeah.
There were so many things happening, but who really cared to take action?
Mm.
Like we think when it doesn't affect us, then we are fine.
Yeah.
Until we are all affected, and then we realize that actually we are all like humans and we We are all one people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you are black or white. COVID-19 will get you.
Yeah.
Should it take COVID-19 to make us realize that we are all human beings?
Yeah.
Like, basically, we all realize that there's no black, white, yellow. A virus is a virus. And in the same way, we should see race. There's no black, white, there's just human being. And unfortunately, when it comes to issues of race, as we see now in the States, people are not getting it, that we are all just one people.
Yeah.
And it should take burning and looting and killing for a common understanding that we are all one people and there's no difference. And so I hope this is a period where we all reflect and learn. Yeah.
I still question if that understanding is clear to people that might not feel, and let me be clear in the conversation and say to the white people that might not feel connected to the struggle. I wonder if that injustice and what you feel, and for me in the last couple of days I've felt paralyzed in myself, almost like the world has reminded me where I stand. Hey, don't forget you're African. You might live in the UK, but hey, and Malcolm X spoke about this. He said the change will only come when black people from all around the world feels the same pain. You remember that interview?
Yes. When we all feel the same pain and we all unite and see ourselves as one people.
Yeah.
And there are black people not only in Africa, not only in the United States. We even form a fraction. There are black people in Brazil, in the Caribbeans. Like, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
And the day we all come to this understanding that we are all white people and stand against all oppression. Yeah, but to my white folks, brothers who I've worked with alongside when I was in the United States, I think this is the time people feel pressured and say, yeah, go out, call it out. But they should all know that this is a structural problem. It's not. It's an issue of inequality. It's a structural issue where a group of people have been disadvantaged for hundreds of years. And this is out of pain that basically, if I'm growing up in a country where, because I'm black, I don't get access to education, because I'm black, I don't get access to healthcare, then I don't have a guaranteed future. And you have no right to question why I act in the way I do now when you did not provide me with an opportunity to be someone better.
No.
But why do you question who I am now? And so it's like our fellow brothers and sisters, white people should know that anytime they also do not speak out and they see an oppression and they do not speak out, they are contributing to a future of a black man that they don't want to see. Because oppression that you don't speak out against, meaning that it will affect other people. So it's structural, it's economic. Black people don't have access to get good employment, get access to better education, because structurally they have been denied. And we don't want to go back to the days of the civil rights movement, but there have been laws that have been laid in legislations that prevented black people from accessing jobs, accessing schools. And you don't just close your eyes and pretend this never existed. Even if these laws were passed just for a year, and we imagine the number of black people within that year who were denied an opportunity. What is their future now? Who are they now? So it's a structural issue, and I hope it's not just about demonstrating and going on the street, but people speak up against policies that promote some of this injustice. Yeah.
And for me, I'm putting, as much as I'm tired, and I'm tired of speaking on this, I'm tired of fighting for it. I'm tired, and it's that simple, You get worn out emotionally. I feel like I expect every white friend of mine to be able to speak on it. And this time I will support you and hold your hand in speaking on it. Next time I expect you to speak on it before I speak on it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then I will have to reevaluate. And it's unfortunate, no matter, because the same oppression is your privilege.
Mm.
And I always say in the UK when um, people speak to me and say, "Hey, I really want social change." No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. You don't know what social change means for your lifestyle. You don't know what it means for your lifestyle. It means maybe would you live as an African if we spoke about economic inequality? Would you want that change? No, you don't. You don't. You don't.
Because they will lose privileges.
But anyways, that's a message from us to you. And I felt Richard was the best person to bring on the show with his experience and his time and his space in the space of leadership, policy, being a young African man that has great roots and great organizations in Africa while also existing in the European context. But yeah, I hope this does not fall on deaf ears, and if it does, you're part of the problem. And if you can't go out of your way to research, you're part of the problem. And I can go as far to say you're racist. Sharing something on social media will not take your soul. Addressing these issues directly when you see it happening will not take your soul. It will uplift your soul, actually. What questioning if it will affect your financial empowerment or development in business or whatever, it's not a question to be asked. Anyways, let's get to the game.
Let's do some breakdowns.
let's move on. Let's move to the game. Yeah, that was heavy, but it's a context that we currently live in and a context that must be flushed out before we move forward. So we've got, the first two African B-boys have battled. We've had some other individuals. Just 1 minute.